Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel or welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, we will be going over everything there is to know about Greydwarf farms. Do bear in mind that the information in this video is pre-Ashlands update. Before we begin, I'd like to thank Kondo over on Jarok the Vikings community server for the core information about how the Greydwarf Nest actually works. Let's start. Once you start getting into the Black Forest, you come across this structure. This is the Greydwarf Nest. The way this nest works is that it has two circles, a spawning circle and a verification circle. Its spawning circle has a radius of 3 floor pieces which start from under the nest, that is 6 in-game meters. And the verification circle has a radius of 10 floor pieces which start from under the nest, which is 20 in-game meters. It spawns a Greydwarf every 12 seconds in the spawning circle and stops spawning them when it verifies that it has spawned 3 of them. The verification circle ignores the environmentally spawned in Greydwarfs and only accounts for the 3 the nest has spawned in. Each nest is independent of one another, which means having 2 nests will spawn in 6 Greydwarfs and so on. A thing to note is that if the spawned in Greydwarf moves away from the verification circle, the nest will spawn in more.
You leave me no choice but to declare you excommunicado.
The Greydwarf Nest is one of the few spawners in-game that does not care for spawn-proofing items, such as the workbench. Even with a workbench in the area, the nest will still spawn in Greydwarfs.
You shall not pass! You have no power here.
In contrast, the Circling spawner does not spawn in Circlings if you have a workbench in the area. You can stop the nest from spawning Greydwarfs in 2 ways, either using player-built pieces like floors which cover the natural terrain, or covering it with anything that gives the sheltered buff, like the roofs. If you make a basement Greydwarf farm design, you have to make sure that the levels above the nest are not covered with items that give the sheltered buff. The nest itself floats and acts as a ground item. The ground items in-game are the ones that turn any build piece connected to them blue. The floating aspect of the nest makes it easy to make basement farm designs. Another thing to note is when you cover the nest with a roof to stop spawns, you need to cover the entire spawning circle. Covering it like this works, and covering it like this will still have spawns. By default, the nest has a hit pool of 100 and can be taken out by most mobs in the game. So when you make a farm, make sure to protect it. Regular Greydwarfs do not aggro onto the player when there's a fire nearby. For shamans and brutes, ignore the fire. However, you can block the line of sight for all 3 to stop the aggro. The most efficient way of taking out Greydwarfs is by fire. There's also poison by the oozer and poison by the pufferfish. I've broken these 3 down into normal, hardcore, and easy mode to show the difference of how fast or slow each one is. Other ways of taking out the Greydwarf are wolves, which is a popular one, y'all, if you want to get creative with the ticks, other mobs, and blood magic summons. I will not be breaking down the times of these because these are not very consistent. Nonetheless, there are still very fun options and you can get creative with them. Let's talk about the average resource breakdown. My results rely on these conditions meeting 1 to 1. I have broken this down into normal, hardcore, and easy modes using default 1.5, 2, and 3 times the resource options. Do take my average numbers with a grain of salt, as due to the constant updates and mods breaking, I did not have the tools to accurately check the numbers. The way I got these numbers was by sitting for hours and hours over months, calculating the average items drop in a minute. Feel free to pause and look at the numbers if this is something that interests you. Now you guys have all the information you need to make awesome Greydwarf farms. And if you still have questions, drop them in the comments and I'll try to answer them as best I can. If you'd like to share the designs you've come up with using any of the information in this video, do share them on my Discord. I'd love to see them. And a shout out to everyone who stuck by the channel even though I haven't posted in a while. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching everyone. Cheers.